Left at the altar of power, she stood frozen while the cameras blinked and the city watched a perfect life collapse in real time. The CEO everyone feared and admired was suddenly just a woman abandoned by ambition itself, and she did not yet know that the quiet man waiting outside with a tired smile and a child's hand in his own was about to change the direction of her fate forever. Before the story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that even broken moments can lead to beautiful beginnings, take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel, Lonely Dad Strong Heart. Your support keeps these real, emotional stories alive. She had spent her entire adult life climbing, winning, and surviving in a world that rewarded sharp elbows and colder hearts. As the youngest CEO of a telecom empire that shaped millions of lives, she had learned early that emotions were liabilities and trust was expensive. Her wedding was supposed to be the final proof that she could have everything at once: power, love, respect, and control. The venue was built like a dream, glass and light overlooking a restless city, decorated to show success rather than softness. Investors, politicians, and executives filled the seats, not guests but witnesses to a carefully crafted image. When the groom failed to arrive, minutes stretching into silence, whispers replaced applause, and the truth emerged like a slow poison. He had chosen power elsewhere, a merger that required a different alliance, a different woman, a different future. In one decision, her public perfection cracked wide open. The humiliation did not break her immediately. She left with her head high, ignoring the eyes that followed her every step, refusing to let tears become headlines. But power does not soften the blow of abandonment. That night, alone in a penthouse that suddenly felt like a glass cage, she finally allowed the weight of it all to settle. The empire she ran demanded strength by morning, meetings by noon, confidence by evening. There was no space for grief in her calendar, no line item for heartbreak. She returned to work as if nothing had happened, but something essential had shifted. The sharp clarity that once drove her began to blur, and the victories felt hollow. Across the city, far from boardrooms and luxury, lived a man whose life had been stripped down to essentials. He was a single father raising a young daughter after losing his wife to an illness that came fast and left nothing behind but silence. His days were a careful balance of responsibilities, small joys, and unspoken exhaustion. He worked as a field technician for the same telecom company, repairing lines, restoring signals, and keeping people connected without ever being noticed. His world was modest, structured around school schedules, simple meals, and bedtime stories read with a tired but steady voice. Pain had taught him patience, and love had taught him endurance. Their paths crossed not through destiny's drama but through inconvenience. A major outage hit a key corporate building late one evening, threatening an important presentation scheduled for the next morning. While executives panicked, he arrived quietly, carrying tools instead of titles. She watched from behind glass walls as he worked with focus and calm, unaffected by pressure or hierarchy. When systems came back online, he did not wait for praise or recognition. He simply packed up and prepared to leave, already thinking about reaching home before his daughter fell asleep. Something about that steadiness unsettled her more than any confrontation ever had. In the weeks that followed, life forced them into proximity. A company initiative aimed at understanding ground-level challenges brought her face to face with workers she had only known through reports. He never treated her differently, neither intimidated nor impressed. His respect came from professionalism, not fear. Slowly, conversations happened without intention, shaped by shared silence more than words. She noticed how he listened, how he never rushed to speak, how his attention carried weight. For the first time in years, she felt seen not as a symbol, but as a person. Her world began to change in small, unfamiliar ways. She found herself questioning decisions she once made without hesitation. Profit margins now competed with human consequences. Late nights at the office felt heavier, while brief moments of laughter shared in ordinary settings felt strangely meaningful. Watching him with his daughter unlocked something she had buried deep beneath ambition. The simplicity of their bond, built on presence rather than possessions, challenged everything she believed defined success. But growth is never painless. The board questioned her judgment when she delayed a lucrative but ethically questionable expansion. Media speculated about her emotional stability after the failed wedding. Trust, once automatic, became conditional. Meanwhile, His life carried its own struggles. Balancing work demands with parenting left little room for rest, and rumors about his closeness to the CEO reached corners of the company that were not kind. He faced subtle penalties, longer shifts, and unspoken resentment. Still, he did not withdraw. He continued to show up, for his child, for his work, for himself. What connected them was not romance at first, but healing. She learned how to slow down, how to sit with discomfort instead of conquering it. He learned that it was possible to dream again without betraying the past. In moments of quiet understanding, they reshaped each other's broken edges. The city outside continued to rush, but something within them moved at a different pace now, guided by patience instead of pressure. When a major corporate crisis threatened thousands of jobs, she stood at a crossroads. Choosing the easy path would secure her position and reputation. Choosing the harder one would protect people like him, people whose lives depended on decisions made far above their reach. For the first time, she chose with her heart fully engaged. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Stocks dipped, critics attacked, and allies distanced themselves. Yet, the workforce stood behind her, unified in a way she had never witnessed before. Among them was the quiet technician who reminded her, without words, that doing the right thing often costs everything before it gives anything back. Time passed, not marked by grand gestures but by consistency. Trust grew where fear once lived. Love emerged not as rescue, but as partnership. She no longer needed to prove her worth through dominance. He no longer carried his burdens alone. Together, they redefined what strength looked like. As her company stabilized and transformed, so did her identity. She was no longer the woman left at the altar of power. She was someone who had faced loss publicly and chosen growth privately. He remained the single dad whose heart had been shaped by responsibility, not bitterness. Their bond did not erase the past, but it honored it, weaving pain into purpose. And now, before the story reaches its end, I have a special request for you. Please comment below and tell us what this story made you feel, or share your own experience with second chances. Your words matter, and they help others feel less alone. In the final moments of this story, there is no spotlight, no applause, no dramatic victory. There is only a quiet understanding that fate does not always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it comes disguised as ordinary people doing their best in difficult circumstances. The CEO who lost everything at the height of her power found something far greater when she learned to let go. The single dad who expected nothing beyond survival discovered that love could grow even after unimaginable loss. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that healing is possible and that kindness still changes lives, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Lonely Dad's Strong Heart. Your engagement tells us these stories matter, and together, we keep them alive.